I just say unequivocally trans rights?
Can I also say unequivocally trans rights?
Trans rights. You know what? Let's extend it just a little bit so I
Yeah.
can shout out other people. Gender non-conforming rights. Let's get the MBs and your gender fluids and your gender queers.
Fuck yes. Fuck
Oh, shit.
yes.
That's
Agreed.
2 of those are me.
Let me just say non-binary.
Oh, dude, you just said the N-word. I didn't see the N-word.
God damn it.
Jesus Christ.
On this podcast, there are 2 N-words, New Jersey and non-binary.
Ooh.
Wait,
See,
we just-
I think that's the bait and switch that you should use for the title. Like, so how do we do a communism today?
Communism today?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming the means of production
Yeah, let's take
aren't
them.
going to be 6 feet apart from each other, so that might be difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the hard part is, like, I think the only way to do a communism like this second would be to, like, have total, like, anarchy, which wouldn't technically be a bad thing.
No.
I actually, like, okay, so I listened to Bosch, and I was listening to a debate that he recently did with a tanky, and someone was like, yeah, the state power should have everything. And I was listening to that, I'm like, you know what? I don't like the state having power over things.
No.
I guess I'm an anarchist now.
Welcome. Hi. I mean, never. No way. Anarchism?
Only unjust hierarchies here.
I love that I keep doing this thing even though it literally says on, like, my Twitter profile that everyone, like, whoever is looking me up will see, and I plug it all the time. Just says, like, anarcho-communist. Just like, there it is. I love this. I love this game that we're playing now.
You could have said it in like 13 to 12 words. Do you get it?
Oh, it took me a second. I was like, wait, are there word limits on Twitter bios? Am I being silenced by the Twitter man? How dare they? That goddamn Twitter man.
That's my favorite folk song.
The goddamn. You know what? I'll write it. Fuck it. I don't care. I'll write the goddamn Twitter man.
A less racist song by Donovan.
It will mostly be like based in like my Facebook experiences. Anytime I ever said like men are trash, now I went to Facebook jail repeatedly for it.
Oh, Rachel, I'm not as familiar as your work, with your work, but I heard that you have, like, I heard earlier in the conversation you have a theater background.
I do.
I was curious, like, who your favorite playwright is.
My favorite playwright. Ooh, that's okay. Gosh.
I'm curious because I'm more getting into theater. Like, I had an American drama class that was mainly 20th century based.
Yeah.
And a little bit from the 21st century. So I read, like, a little bit of Tennessee Williams and then Arthur Miller.
Good.
And then Lorraine Hansberry, which is fucking based.
Honestly, I haven't really touched any theatrical works, like reading them like I used to for studying, since I've sort of like come of age in my own politics, so I can't really speak from any modern playwrights, because a lot of things that probably resonated with me when I was studying theater and being an actor maybe don't, but I will recommend, and they're not my favorite because I don't know enough of their works, but there's a really great piece by Clifford Odets called Waiting for Lefty, and it's all about a cabbie strike, and I was in it. I played the character Flory, and it's one of those pieces, much like a lot of things that you look back on with like sort of your nostalgia glasses, where you're like, wow, I didn't really appreciate this when I was doing it or when I was there. But I would say like Waiting for Lefty and Odets are really great. I also like the play La Ronde, and I can't remember the playwright for La Ronde. They're a French playwright, but the piece that they wrote, La Ronde, is all about two-person scenes going through the whole play, and the two-person scenes are the liaisons between these characters. So you sort of have like the call girl and the soldier, and then the next scene you have the soldier and the debutante, and then like the next scene is like the debutante and her husband, and then it's like the debutante's husband and like this person, and like it goes in literally a circle of just like everybody's fucking everyone, and it comes back to the end and you have that first character that wasn't like passed on to the next one. It's great. It's all about fucking and how everybody's fucking everyone, and it's rad as hell. Because they're all just like condensed two-person scenes. Also great for like scene work if you were interested in like acting, because then like you only have to work with one other person. But I would say that Shakespeare always stands out in my heart as just like a really great comprehensive deep dive into the human condition, you know? Like, I don't think there's any feeling or any action done by humans that isn't covered in Shakespeare, you know? Like, you can watch Iago be so jealous of Othello that he will literally wreck this man's life, even though, god damn it, hasn't Othello just gone through fucking enough? Like, jeez, man. But like, you watch this and it's just heart-wrenching. And then in like one of the next things, like obviously Shakespeare stole fucking everything, but let's round it back to great artist Steele. You know, and then all of a sudden you're like in fucking stitches watching the rude mechanicals try and do a fucking play, you know, within a play, and it's just like, y'all are so bad at this. I've never watched a scene with the rude mechanicals from Midsummer where I wasn't losing my mind. Like, I think Shakespeare just is one of those writers, and like maybe he's one person, maybe he's many people, I don't give a fuck. What matters is like it exists and it's here, and I will call it William Shakespeare. Whoever created it, I'm not gonna get into the rest of it, but like it's there. Like, I think you can literally figure out the human condition just reading Shakespeare.
I don't think you're
so right. I guess he's my favorite. I don't know, that feels basic to say, so
Shakespeare is I'd say like my background's humanities, and like I'm going into my fourth year next semester, and Shakespeare is I would say, even though Shakespeare is not my favorite by far, like Shakespeare doesn't match my aesthetic really, because like I'm more gothic in nature, but Shakespeare is the most influential writer the English language has ever had, because character development was made with Shakespeare. Shakespeare's added so much language into our dialect. Like, there's a really good book that everyone should read if they speak English, called The Story of English by Robert McCrum and Robert McNeil and William Cran. It's fucking fantastic. I read it for a morality and literacy class last semester. It's and there's like an entire chapter about the influence that Shakespeare has had in our language. It's really fucking good. I really like Arthur Miller from what I've read and seen.
Arthur Miller's also great. If I may, there's also another really great book about Shakespeare, and I read this in college, so please understand that if it doesn't hold up politically, I'm 10 years out of college, so please forgive. But there's a book by Harold Bloom called Shakespeare: The Invention of the Human, and Bloom argues in this book that our ability to understand our own psyche was born out of the works of William Shakespeare. Like, that idea where like we were suddenly conscious of our own consciousness is based in like Shakespearean issues, like the soliloquy as inner monologue, and suddenly like the recognition that, oh shit, we all have inner monologues, I guess. Weird, right? You know, enough to like give it words and give it language.
Yeah, I think Shakespeare is when literacy really takes place in the English language, and when you start seeing these new concepts. Because before, English had this more oral setting, and less people could read. Like, English has been kind of, like, England has been prolific in how many people can read in its country, but you still, like, when you get to Shakespeare, that's when you start having, like, wider education, and you have more people actually being able to read English, and you have the printing press happening. It's, like, the perfect time for Shakespeare to exist. It's almost makes me believe in a god. Almost. Very close, but not quite. In my humble opinion, the long philosophical question for me has been answered.
That God's. Oh, may I say unequivocally, God's not real.
Yeah, I like Camus.
Yeah.
Very much like a pizza, which is flat and round. Time is a lake.
For a second, I
Bullshit.
thought you were gonna mask off as Flat Earth.
Oh no.
Look, I'm not smart enough to be that dumb.
Tagline for the episode: Rachel Quirky Schenk,
Don't you
Flat
dare.
Earther.
You can't.
And then you
That will-
timestamp it.
That will fucking ruin me.
I'm
Killing Stalin with Flat Earther
Rachel, Quirky Schenk.
Can we talk about how ridiculous?
That's a bait
Just
and
the
switch bullshit, and you should not do that to your listeners.
We don't do that, but we will treat our listeners. Okay, like, they're fine. Except you, Defeater. You're awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah,
He's
Defeater.
a
Good job.
guy. Oh wait, 1 second.
Hey, Defeater,
Sorry.
do you like how close I am to the microphone? Do you feel close to me?
I hate this.
Quarantine is terrible, isn't it?
Okay, that was for Defeater. Everyone else, I hope you didn't listen.
Wait,
Are we doing a internet
does
common etiquette bit?
Wait, does Defeater get ASMR reactions? Or, I mean, ASMR?
Ace SMR.
Ah, I see what you did there. And I appreciate it.